Hello and welcome to the Big Brother in Our House podcast. Week number six already. Crazy. Crazy week it has been as always. I'm joined with my co-host Scott. Scott, how are you doing?
Dude, I am pissed, okay? Kaser was right on his eviction speech. Are we playing Big Brother or are we having a reunion? We are having a reunion. I'm going on a tangent here. This is not Big Brother, okay? Let me tell you what. You do not let your best friend in this game walk. You have to choose between two allies. You choose between the closest one, okay? Nicole, you are dumb. You have zero chance of winning, okay? Zero chance of winning. No one's gonna let you win twice, okay? No one. It doesn't matter who you're sitting next to. Maybe David, you might win. But how many times have we seen it? We see it again every single year. Everyone is scared to make the big move. And Nicole, every single time she's been evicted in 16, she said someone needs to step up and make a big move. And she had the chance to do it last night, and she did it. Now, let's move on to the rest of the committee. I'm sorry. You're taking a step back here. None of them have a backbone, okay? They're all doing what's best for Cody's game. Are we playing Big Brother or are we playing hand Cody the $500,000 check? Okay? The only way Cody can go is if Nicole wins HOH this week, puts up Cody and Tyler, and then she gets Christmas, Davon, Kevin, and David's vote. That's the only way Cody goes. If Cody's here after this week, he's going to the final two, and that's how the game is going to end. He's going to win. He's going to take Nicole to the final two, and everyone's going to be upset at Nicole for everything she's done. And one of those things she did was she made fun of Ian's autism, which is not good. A bunch of them did, actually. I think Cody was one of them, too. But anyways, the production is in trouble. You know, they got exposed for rigging the game before the game started. They got caught allowing Dan and Derek to pregame and pretty much rig the whole season. Okay? Production is in trouble, and I would not be surprised if this is the last season of Big Brother ever. Okay?
Wow.
I am pissed. This is not the kind of Big Brother I was expecting for All Stars. I was expecting there to be some solid gameplay, but the only good gameplay I'm seeing is from Cody. Okay? Cody is going to win this game, and I'm gonna tip my hat to Cody here because he has managed to make the game so much in his favor that he is going to win 9-0 on finale night, okay?
Wow.
He is being the puppet master, okay? Now, granted, most of it was rigged for him pre-game, so I would definitely put an asterisk on his win. Cody's winning the game. There's no getting rid of him after this week. Especially if another committee member wins, you know, it's over. And another thing I'm gonna say, any one of the committees could have screwed over Nicole's game this week. Okay, they could have put a vote to evict Tyler and had Dani break the vote, and that would have been a big move, which would have crushed Nicole's game. That's it. Tangent done. Let's move on with the podcast.
All right. I think that's the best intro in Big Brother in Our House podcast history.
Dude, I swear to God, I thought you were gonna say that's a good place to leave off. Come on back. No, we're kidding, guys. We're kidding.
Yeah, guys. So we'll see you next week. No.
No.
All right. I guess let's bring some structure back to the podcast. Let's talk about the evicted as always. So, Ian, yeah, I mean, Rat Cole kind of messed up his game. I mean, the thing is, so Ian played well. He came in with the strategy to do nothing and then do a lot after jury, like once jury begins, which is a good strategy. It's worked for him before, which is probably why he did it, because it's literally exactly what he did in BB14. But kind of he didn't mess up, but Dani messed up, because if Dani wanted to target Tyler this week, then why you put up Ian next to him? It should have been Enzo, realistically. Enzo is friendly with pretty much everyone in the house. He's got no real enemies or anything. And Tyler's a big threat. And had it been Enzo on the block, I think Cody would have voted out Tyler. Nicole would have voted out Tyler. Pretty much it would have been unanimous for Tyler, most likely. So if she wanted to target Tyler, I don't understand why she didn't do that. Now, I understand it's hard to make 4 nominations in 1 week. It's very rare for that to even happen. But it was just not a smart move to put up Ian, who's also Dani's closest ally, being Nicole, best friend, you know? Like, Dani's much closer from what I've seen with Nicole than she is with Cody. So why are you going against your biggest ally in the house instead of Cody's biggest ally in the house? It doesn't make any sense. I understand that they're in the same alliance but both of them are in the same alliance, so you can't even say that. But Ian played a great game. He played his style game, and probably could have done something post-jury had he had the chance. But it's just kind of unfortunate for him that Dani messed up. And even Ian recognized that, saying, like, Dani, you messed up. And if Dani's sitting in finale night, there's no way Ian's voting. I can't see Ian being a bitter juror, but I can only see him being a bitter juror towards Dani, to be honest. Kind of the way I see it. Just because Ian seems like he has a good understanding of the game. He knows from working with Dan that a bitter juror, what a bitter juror could be, and I think that he won't be a bitter juror. So, but with that being said, I think Nicole is the only person he'd be bitter against. And I mean, not Nicole, Dani.
Even Nicole, he might be.
I feel like he knew, because I was watching the interview yesterday, and it seemed like he knew that was going to be a 5-3 vote. Like, he even said he wasn't surprised.
All right. Well,
he doesn't know
I'm
it
gonna
was
spill a little
Nicole,
bit.
obviously, but
Right.
but
Well,
I
I can
think
spill a little
it's
bit of tea here
assumed.
because I saw on Twitter. Now, this was Janelle who posted it, so you can take it however you want. But this was like videos from the live feeds, and it's of Nicole. And Nicole was practicing acting, practicing fake crying, so that Big Brother could perceive her to be, the way they're trying
Wow.
to perceive her. And she was going to vote out Ian the whole time. It was never a doubt in her mind that Ian was going to stay, right?
Really?
And, the thing is, you can say whatever, you want in the house, and it's going to get recorded. But not too many people watch the feeds. Like, the average Big Brother fan is not watching the feeds, right? They're watching Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's it, right? You might see the occasional thing on Twitter, but the average fan is not watching the feeds, and they're only seeing what Big Brother wants to perceive their players to be, right? And it seems like Big Brother is trying to perceive Nicole as, a someone who I guess is emotional, and someone who is soft, right? Whereas the whole time she was like, Ian's out.
Oh wow!
It was gonna be a 5-3 vote. Yeah, sorry. But that's the thing, right? Like, I'm starting to understand the beef between Janelle and Nicole, because if Janelle doesn't like that style of game, right? You can, and I guess Janelle, from being in the house with Nicole, can sort of understand what's going on better than any of us can, because she saw Nicole in a day-to-day life.
Yeah, you also have to consider, though, that's quite biased.
It is quite biased, but it comes from live feeds.
But she's not
from live feeds.
But she's not friendly with Nicole. She'll do whatever it takes to make Nicole look bad.
Right. She'll make Nicole look bad no matter what, but if she's pulling things from the live feeds,
I guess
you know
so.
what I mean? You're not you can't really alter live feeds,
Yeah, it's true.
right? So like you start to understand why Janelle doesn't like Nicole, because you know what? If that's how Nicole really is in the house, I don't like her either.
Yeah. It is a shame to see Ian go, though. I mean,
It
he
is such a shame.
he is still a legend of the game, BB14 winner, and all.
He went out with class.
Went out with
You know,
class.
he said it's a good game to everybody. Walked out the door with what is presumed to be a smile on his face. You know,
Yeah.
you can't see because of the mask, but you know, he wasn't upset at being voted out. You know, he was happy to experience
Yeah.
the jury life. Even though he wanted to win All Stars, he wanted to be the first 2-time winner. You know, he knows it's just a game. It's nothing to get emotional about. And you know what? He's lived the dream, right? He won Big Brother. He was in the house twice. He won it the first time he was on.
Yeah.
You know, he has
Anyways,
nothing to be ashamed about.
on to the other nominee this week, kind of. I mean, there was 4 nominees this week, but on to the one that was actually sitting next to Ian on eviction night, Tyler. Tyler, you know, I found it interesting what you said at the start about we're all playing Cody's game. I would say the opposite. I'd say we're all playing Tyler's game at this point. The fact that he didn't go home this week tells me that we're all playing Tyler's game, because this was a week where Tyler's the biggest threat in the house, right? And likely is going to go very far in this game. Likely, I think he's still the favorite to win if I had to bet my money on it. Just because he has more puppet master capabilities than Cody does, I believe. I think he has a very good read on the house. I think everyone likes him for the most part, but he's still a little conniving as you need to be, you know.
Well,
This
I guess
this week really showed me that Tyler could take himself off, like not take himself off the block, but still be safe, and that's something that in finale night he can use. You could say, "Look, I ran this house, and basically, like, you guys had a chance to evict me, but because I ran this house so much, you guys didn't. So vote for me to win." And who's going to say no to that? Compared to Cody,
right.
Cody hasn't faced adversity in this game yet. Tyler's faced adversity.
That's because here's the thing. Tyler stirred the pot. Cody has been smart. You know, he's just kind of laid back. He won a competition. So has Tyler. Tyler's won one HOH. Cody's won one HOH. But the thing is, Tyler sort of needs to win competitions because he knows people are going after him.
Mm-hmm.
Cody doesn't need to go win competitions. And even when Tyler's gone, when Tyler goes, you know, Cody, I don't think Cody will still need to win competitions because I think he's still kind of aligned with everybody at this point. You know, as long as Davon, Kevin, and David go, you know, and then the final 7 is the committee with Enzo. You know,
Yeah.
Cody's in a good spot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but you could say the exact same thing for Tyler.
well, but here's the thing.
So.
Davon wants him gone. Kevin, David want him gone. Danielle wants him gone. You know, Nicole might eventually want him gone with Dani. There's 5 people, right? You know, the only people you have left are Cody, Enzo, and Memphis.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing. That's the thing about the difference between Tyler and Cody is Tyler does sort of need to win, or he needs, you know, those 4 people to win. Cody doesn't care who wins because he's staying.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I kind of want to see this house start shaking up, because right now it's just everyone's friendly still, and we're so late into the game, week 6.
It's a reunion. This is not All Stars. This is a reunion. Kaser said it best. You know, we're not playing Big Brother. You know, that's why I wanted Kaser and Janelle to be around, because Kaser and Janelle were gonna go after Cody, right? Mm-hmm. You know, there's no one going after Cody right now. Can you name one person going after Cody?
No, there's no one going after the committee
No
right
one,
now.
no
No
one's
one.
going after the committee. Well, that's because the committee's won every single HOH except for one, and
Yeah,
it was won by someone that Cody's aligned with. So the committee got what they wanted anyways.
yeah, exactly. Um, but it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, something happens this week. I thought that
But
Danny's HOH was gonna stir up the committee. I think even
if
after this week, it still could. I think maybe, but I'm
yeah,
not sure. But on to the other two players that were on the block this week, Kevin and David. And so let's talk about David first, just because he's even though he was on the block, he was still quite irrelevant this week. So he was on the block for about an
yeah,
hour. um,
yeah, literally
um,
an hour.
and then he used his disruptor power um, that basically saved himself for the week. And he had nothing to worry about this week because of the disruptor power. So he was safe. And then obviously Danny at the second nomination ceremony, if you want to call it that, nominated Tyler, and everyone was like, "What? What's going on?" The one thing I will say about David is he's starting to pick up on the game. He's starting to learn the game. You could tell he's not a rookie anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he's starting to pick things up.
You know,
Now he still does make the casual mistake. Um, I mean, it was smart of him to fake cry at the
really,
disruptor power or whatever. I think it was smart of him to
you,
fake cry.
you think it was
I
smart?
think it was
I think it
not
was dumb.
smart of I think it was not smart of him to go the step further of asking every single person in the house um, who did it, because that's just kind of stupid. Like
Yeah, because here's the thing.
he even asked people like Tyler if he used it.
Mhm.
Like, come on, Tyler's not going to use it if he thinks he's going
Yeah,
home. Like, I
here's the
understand
thing.
it asks the people that are close to him, like asks Davon, did you use it? Kevin, Kevin was on the block next to him, so I
No,
guess don't ask Kevin. But even just
yeah,
Davon, like ask someone so at least it looks legit, like it wasn't you. But like,
hmm
don't like ask every single person in the house. Obviously, even if someone did use it on you, which no one did, like no
hmm
one's gonna confess to it
yeah.
anymore.
And
So
here's the thing, right? Like, I thought even the fake crying was dumb because if you know, at this point in the game, you're really all it is you're holding yourself off for another week of safety
yeah,
against the committee, right? And I don't think anybody in that house doesn't realize that there's an alliance running this game, right? So at this point in the game, like I think the fake crying is dumb. The asking who did it is dumb. You just stand up and be like, "Yeah, I saved myself this week. What you gonna do about it, right?"
true. I mean,
And and, and like the thing is, right? You know, it going out about it like that is like motivation for you to go out and get power. Try and win the HOH the next week and try and put the people up you want out. You know, at this point in the game, you know how Danny was talking about how if you go after a player like Tyler, you can't miss.
yeah,
Well, David can afford to miss because he's gonna leave the house anyways.
yeah.
So David can
Exactly.
afford to
So
miss. A
if
lot of
one of those
these
people
people
come in
don't.
power, like who knows? Who knows?
They just put these people up, and if they miss, they miss. It doesn't matter.
If Davon, Kevin, David, any three of them come into power, I would
Yeah,
not be surprised to see Cody and Tyler both on the block sitting right next to each other. And
But Tyler would go.
whoever stays on the block at the end of the week, because one of those two are gonna win the veto. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Whichever one of those two doesn't win the veto is going home. Because
No, I don't think. I don't think Cody would go because
I think Cody would go. I think if Tyler goes, if Tyler wins and they name the replacement like someone like Enzo or someone like um
no, Enzo would go home. The committee would protect Cody.
oh true. So maybe if they go with like someone like I'm
Danny,
trying to think, Danny. No, like Christmas.
nope.
Christmas is the ultimate
Christmas,
pawn,
but
as Danny would put it.
I still think Tyler would have picked Christmas. I think Enzo would evict Christmas.
Tyler would not evict Christmas. He has a final 2 with Christmas.
He's a final 2 with Cody.
He's more loyal to
Cody,
his final. I think he's way more loyal to his final 2 with Christmas than he is with Cody.
Yeah.
They had that since before the game started.
That's true. I you know what? I really can't keep up with all these deals anymore, man. Like who's aligned?
Yeah,
with
there's
who,
a lot of them.
You know, in my opinion, the committee is now the best alliance in the history of Big Brother. You know.
Well.
Yeah.
Best with like an asterisk, you know.
Because it was a pre-game alliance. But, you know, it definitely on paper is the best alliance in Big Brother just because they kept winning. You know, they got 6 chances every week.
If all 6 of them end up in the final 6, there's no alliance that's ever even come close to that.
Exactly.
No 6-person alliance has ever all made it to the final 6.
Which
is looking like it's going to end up that way.
It'd be tough for them to end up in the final 6 because if Enzo ever gets power in the final 7, a veto or an HOH,
yeah,
which we've seen him do both.
Yeah, I think Enzo is really well set up in this game right now, even though he's outside the alliance. I think Enzo is more likely to make it farther than some of the people in that alliance, in my opinion.
The committee's gonna get rid of Davon, David, and Kevin, and then they're going to turn on each other. They're going to keep Enzo around.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Enzo's kind of the honorary member of the committee because he's aligned with pretty much all of them, anyways. So even though he's not officially in it, he's on the outside looking in, and
then he has the final 3 with Tyler and Cody.
Yeah, exactly. So. Which is the 2 best players in the house right now. So he's looking okay.
So he would get 3rd place or 2nd place. It depends. I don't know.
He'll probably finish 2nd. I imagine. I imagine Tyler or Cody win the final HOH and bring Enzo.
I imagine Cody would rather bring Dani and Nicole to the final 3 than those guys, though.
Dani?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Dani's not making. Dani's not making it to the final 3. Dani's the first one they're going to turn on. Dani's the first one they'll turn on.
I'll be honest. Cody would probably want to bring the 2 weakest physical competitors to the final 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could because if he goes to the final 3 with Dani and Nicole, and then he's automatically going to round 3, and I think he should win round 3. He's done it before. He'll do it again. You know. And he'll take Nicole to the final 2. That's what he should do.
Yeah, or he'll be loyal again, which I doubt that would happen. But
no, he won't make that mistake twice.
It's Big Brother. But I think Enzo's pretty well set up in this house. I think that he has nothing really to worry about right now, and pretty much everyone loves Enzo. There's not a single person who'd put him up unless he was like a pawn in some way. And even then he wouldn't go home. So
I think Kevin is in trouble. You know, he was another one of the nominees this week.
Yeah.
Kevin needs power or he's done. You know, he's been gifted power so many times. You know, even the veto he won, he was sort of, you know, gifted the power by everyone dropping pretty quick, right? You know, Kevin is in trouble. They're all in trouble, really. And, you know, I heard apparently Kevin said to Davon, you know, I'm coming after you. I will never vote for you as a juror if you don't save me with the veto. Apparently that happened on the feeds. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I heard that.
But I definitely could see that being possible. So, you know, maybe he might be a bitter juror. You know, here's the thing. If you threaten to be a bitter juror, you might go further in the game. Like you'll be playing for 50 grand. But if you're in that much of a pickle, like all of them are right now.
That's what you gotta do. Yeah.
You know, Nicole's playing for 2nd place at this point in the game. You know, the only person she had a chance to beat in the final 2 is Ian, and Ian's out the door. She made sure he went. And basically that proves to me that Nicole did not come back here to win. She came for 50 grand.
Yeah, this just proves to me that Nicole, she didn't come back here to win, you're right?
Mhm.
And she's kind of realized, like, I think she knew that the odds of the two winners being up there together was very slim anyways. Um, and you don't need to be a two-time winner to secure your big brother legacy. I mean, Dan's probably the greatest of all time, and he's not a two-time winner, right? He's first place and second place, though, which is kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
100%.
that's more what she's aiming for. But to
I
put
agree.
Nicole
You
and
know,
Dan in the same sentence is arson. So
Nicole is not a good player. Okay, she did not even deserve to win her season. I'm sorry, she won because the jury was bitter at Paul. So, you
yeah,
know, it is what it is. You know, like Nicole had a tough choice. No, sorry, it was Paul that actually won the final HOH that season, and he turned on James, which was a smart move on Paul. Would have been a smart move on Paul's part because James would have won. But you know, it showed. Here's the thing: if you win the game on a better juror, like it's just that's just, you know, I put an asterisk around your winning. You know, Jordan Lloyd, the one who she won because of a better jury, right? So many there have been many times we've seen people win
I
because of
mean, like
better
most
juries.
winners, it's really most winners, and it's just kind of the way Big
Mhm.
Brother's set up with the whole jury vote way of determining the winner. It's kind of a broken way
Mhm.
to determine the winner. But how
No,
else are you? Like, there's no other way to determine the winner. Like,
you,
unless
you don't you don't want America to do it.
you can't make America do it. They'll just vote for their favorite player.
Exactly.
So
That's why we have America's favorite player, which,
yeah.
you know, I think Ian or Enzo will win that.
Well, yeah, because like even Big Brother Canada, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have one of their jury votes was done by Canada. It was like stupid because you always knew who they were going to choose.
Yeah, and then well, like
And the
when
way is, and the other thing is like the other
Gary
thing
gets
is
voted back in at final five by Canada. Canada votes Gary back in. You knew that was coming.
yeah. But anyways, I think Kevin is looking pretty bad right now. He needs power. That's all it is. That's the only way he could
Okay.
stay in the house and keep himself from not being the pawn for how many number of weeks this is now.
Let's save some time here and say Davon is pretty much the same as Kevin. She needs power to stay.
Yeah,
Done. That's it. Davon, done. We don't even
yeah,
need to talk about Davon. Same
yeah.
thing.
I agree. I do want to just say one thing on Davon, which is congratulations on her first veto win.
Oh,
And I think it was interesting that you used the veto on Kevin. You did mention that in the live feed, Kevin did say that he'd be a bitter juror, so that's why she did it. But I think Davon. I think overall that was a smart move for Davon to do it, and I don't even think she realized that's going to be such a good move because the thing is, she just got rid of Ian or Tyler pretty much single-handed.
yeah.
You
And
know?
the thing is too is, you know, although they're not an official alliance, David and Kevin are working with each other. David and Davon are working with each other, and Kevin and Davon are working with each other.
Yeah.
So all three of them are an alliance with not
Yeah.
officially,
They kind of
and
have a
they're
thing.
not going to. They kind of have a three because they're all working with each other, but they're not really officially an alliance.
Yeah.
So no, that's interesting to look at too.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You kind of have there's 7 versus 3 right now, pretty much. You got the committee plus
Yeah, it's not
Enzo
looking good.
versus them 3.
Hmm.
take your bet. Um,
Yeah.
all right. With that being said, Christmas. So Christmas is an interesting player because what I noticed about Christmas this week is that Dani really trusts Christmas too much for her own good. I think because I think Christmas doesn't like Dani as much, but she's just gathering all this information from Dani. Dani, I think, I think Christmas is Dani's ride or die, but Dani does not feel any type of the same loyalty towards her, in my opinion. It seems like every time that they talk, Dani's just giving her stuff, as if it's Cody and Enzo, and Christmas is just sitting there taking it in, and then it goes to her in the diary room saying, "Yeah, I mean, I don't really like what she has planned," you know. Um,
Yeah,
so I think that relationship might come to hurt Dani. She's kind of trusting the wrong person with
I don't
her.
think we give I don't think we give Christmas enough credit. She's such a good player.
Yeah. And the thing with Christmas is she's good at pretty much every area of the game. Obviously
Hundred percent.
she could be emotional at times. We saw that last week, but it seems like they made up. Um, and she's just good socially. She's good physically. She's good at comps, anything. So Christmas is
Yeah.
a very underrated player in this game. I don't think that she has a chance to win it per se. I don't think she's done enough or had enough power to do it. But she has played a good game, and kudos to her. She could be a two-time third placer, um,
Like Janelle.
like Janelle. But we'll see. Um, I think
All
Christmas doesn't get enough credit for all the credit that she's worth.
right, so let me ask you this question: is Christmas the modern day Janelle?
I mean, she's not a comp beast. She is a comp beast, but she doesn't win
Yeah,
comps. If that makes
she
any
doesn't win
sense.
them. No, yeah,
Yeah,
she
like
doesn't
her
win them
first season, she
like
was
Janelle.
injured.
But
Her first season, she was injured, so she couldn't
yeah,
win comps. This season, she's won one or two. I think one.
two. She won the HOH and she won the safety suite.
That's right, and she won the power too. She
Yeah,
won.
so she's won three.
So she's won three. So
Yeah,
this season, she's kind of looking like a comp beast, but that was expected. Like she is a comp beast.
she's
She's built
healthy,
like a comp beast.
and
Um,
she's healthy this time around.
and she's healthy. Exactly. She doesn't have a broken foot. Um, but yeah, I think Christmas is a big threat in this game and could be the second committee member they go after Dani. But that's
Speaking of Dani,
my take.
she did not use her power.
Dani did not use her power.
Use her power.
I didn't
What?
even notice that. Um,
She had the power to,
I think I
you
know why.
know,
Though. I didn't even notice that.
no, like,
Bringing that up. I think I know why though. I think Dani had
mhm.
such a tough HOH week this week that if she had to put up two people again, it would have been chaos for her. She would have never won this game. Even if she was
You know
sitting
what?
in the final two, she would have never won this game. There'd be such a bitter jury towards
Yeah,
Dani that she would have never won this game. I think she realized that this week was just so hard on her. She had to nominate four people. How often does that happen
yeah,
that you have to do that, right?
yeah.
Um,
And the thing is, too, like, the if a committee member wins, she can just use it on the committee member,
well, true.
right? And then now they have a six chances to win HOH the next
Yeah,
week. Especially now that it's even though they keep winning, it's more important that they win them now so that they make sure that a non-committee member does go home.
yeah. Um, but yeah, Dani, I'm not liking the way she's playing this game. I think that she's thinks that she's a bigger shot than she is. Um,
Agreed.
and that just showed with Tyler's eviction. I think she realized that. I think she's going to realize this week that she doesn't run the house. We talked a lot about on the podcast earlier um, how basically Dani thinks she's running the house, but she really has no understanding of what's going on in the house. And I think she realized that this week. She realized that she thought that she had the votes to evict Tyler. She didn't. Now Tyler's going to be gunning for her. Tyler's in her alliance. That's going to be an interesting thing that plays out. We'll see what happens with that. Um, and yeah, and she broke a deal. She told Tyler that you're safe till final six, and then in the same day puts him up.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? So, so
hmm
I,
and she could have put up Ian. She could have put up Enzo over
I
Tyler.
so there's bad blood there, and if
hmm
Tyler seems closer with the final three he has with Enzo and Cody right now, and if they get into that final seven and they have to start picking each other off, Cody, Tyler, and Enzo are way more likely to win comps than the rest of them. It's just the
Yep.
way it is, right? So if they win a comp, Dani, you're going home. Like, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
Probably the first
Yep.
one off the list.
Yep.
But
Uh, last but not least, we have Memphis.
are we already on the last one? Damn.
Yeah, we talked to everybody.
Everyone was busy this week.
Yeah.
So Memphis, we've talked about this again. Just kind of keeping it mellow as always. I mean,
Yeah.
I say as always because since week 2, he's literally done pretty much nothing in this house. I mean, I say this every week. I sound like a broken record at this point, but you realize he messed up week 2 with his nomination, and he's just kind of chilling in the background for now. He knows that the committee's
hmm
got him, um, and he knows he's safe. Uh, he's probably going to make it pretty far, even after the committee starts fighting against each other, like final 5, maybe something like that, if I had to guess. Um,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens with Memphis. Kind of just floating through this game right now, but yeah, I mean he's still a threat to win competitions. He could still win competition, so who knows?
You know what I noticed at the end of the show? He looked like he was in the lead for HOH.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think it's. I think if I had to predict, I think Memphis wins HOH.
yeah. I would predict that too. I guess we could go into our predictions now because we're pretty much done talking about everyone. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it looked like that competition was near over. Like,
Yeah, like
he
you know,
looked like he
if they had
was.
a couple less commercials, they could have had it all live,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. So Memphis likely wins. But you never know. That puzzle could something could happen with the puzzle. You never know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, um, I say if Memphis wins because he was in the lead at the time, I would say he just puts up 2 non-committee members, someone like David and Kevin again. I
I was
mean,
gonna say the same thing.
I
I'm the exact same thing.
we sound like a broken record as always, but
Yeah.
that's just the way it has to be. Um, at this point
And
of the
and one of
game,
them
there's really nobody else.
and one of them will go.
Yeah, yeah. One of
Yeah,
them
one of them
will.
comes off.
One of them
You know,
comes
if
off. Davon goes on the block. So.
or if Davon pulls one of them off, Enzo's gonna go on.
Hmm.
So yeah, you know, one of them's gonna go. I truly think this is David's final hour in the house.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
David has done so well to make it this far in the game. And, you know, I would like to see him get a third shot at the game one day, you know, if he wants to. You know,
Yeah,
in a non All-Star season, I think he could get another chance and do very well.
yeah.
So, you know,
I think David's definitely grown a lot in this house. You could
mhm,
tell he was a rookie at the start, and even until like week 3, week 4, basically until he had
mhm,
that big oops when he
yeah,
said when he put out Tyler's name and said that Tyler told him. Ever since that moment, he's kind of realized, okay, this is how Big Brother's played. I understand
yeah,
now. I kind
yeah.
of
And
got into that a bit earlier, but just
I
the
think
way the
America
house is.
loves him.
Uh yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think
Everyone
he's.
loves the everyone.
I
Everyone
don't
loves
think
the
he's.
underdog story.
Yeah, but I don't think he's the favorite to win.
No, he's
Like
not the favorite to
America's,
win.
like America's
No,
favorite
he's not. He's
player. I
not gonna win. He's not gonna win America's favorite player. But you know, I think like as a fan of the game, I like watching David.
mean.
You know, because you want to see the underdog do well.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, any of those committee members win, I think David and Kevin go on the
Yeah.
block. If one of those three
And
win, I mean, it's wide open. So we'll see what happens. I have no idea what's
David will go before Kevin though, because I think David is more likely to win a competition over Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
So unless David wins the veto, then Kevin would go. But
Yeah, and I think
yeah,
Kevin's more set up in the house than David is. I think people
right.
like Kevin more, if that makes sense.
For
No
sure.
one doesn't like Kevin. He's just an easy pawn because he's on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But pawns go home sometimes, so who knows?
You saw it this week.
Well, yeah, the pawn went home this week. Exactly.
Well, it was a pawn.
Yeah, but Dani was not intending that to be the pawn.
Oh no, she was. She said
I know she
I'm
said.
going after Tyler but she said that to
I know she
make
said
Ian
that.
feel safe.
I know she said that, but you could just tell by Dani. Like Dani doesn't like Tyler. There's no question.
Yeah.
There's
Oh
no
yeah.
question Dani doesn't like Tyler. So
100%.
even though Ian was technically the pawn, and I'm sorry, even though Tyler was technically the pawn, I think that there's still a vengeance there. I think Dani still does
Oh yeah.
not like Tyler at all. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think she was kind of trying to flip the vote a bit, trying a little, but we'll see.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think we've covered everything.
That's a good place to leave off.
Let me give you an interesting thing before we leave. Who do you think is the favorite for America's favorite player this week? Because we were kind of talking about it.
Enzo.
Enzo?
Yeah, I think, the things he says in the diary room are so hilarious, right? Like every time Enzo's in the diary room, you're laughing your butt off. Okay, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think it's.
I remember like during the basement, he was like, "Oh, I used to live in a basement. That's where I was haunted." Blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah, I think it's between Enzo and Tyler right now. Who knows what
Yeah, I
will
agree.
happen? But yeah, I agree. It's one of those two for sure. Did Enzo win America's favorite player on his season or no?
No, it was Brittany.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Brittany probably would have been my vote too, to be honest. I'm a big Brittany fan. So, but anyways, with that being said, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you're not doing so already, follow us on Instagram at Big Brother in Our House. And thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. Peace.